Disclaimer: this episode discusses suicidal ideations and extreme content that may be triggering to some. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to another episode of 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Today we sit down with Buddy Lee Dobbertteen, a Marine Corps veteran who lived through 5 combat tours in Iraq from 2001 to 2006. Buddy's journey is raw, painful, and powerful, from growing up in an abusive home to carrying survivor's guilt, battling alcoholism, and facing multiple suicide attempts. But it's also a story of resilience. After reaching his lowest point, Buddy turned to music, touring the world as a drummer with country bands, and spending 10 years writing his book, The Sword of Autumn, now available on Amazon. He's now on a mission to launch a nonprofit for military brats, the Forgotten Generation, and even create a video game that tackles PTSD with the message, "It's okay to not be okay." This episode dives into war, trauma, healing, and hope. It's a conversation you won't forget. Let's get started.
You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of 8158 Podcast Stories of Sacrifice. Today's guest is we have Buddy Lee. He is a former Marine, and we'd like to welcome Buddy to the podcast. And I believe you're going to enjoy his story. He's done a lot of things in his life, and he's very proactive with his military buddies and all that good stuff. And he does a lot of good things for his community. So let's welcome Buddy Lee. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to know the story behind y'all's, what you guys do and why. It's a big honor.
You're very welcome. And it's an honor for us to have you on here. We support our military veterans, and we love you guys for what you do. Sacrifice a lot. Like they say, some gave some gave all.
hmm
You guys did your job.
hmm
So we thank you for your service, and we honor that.
Oh, thank you so much. Truly.
You're very welcome. So, in our opening, can you take us back to September 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11, and what life looked like for you then?
Well, a few days prior, um, something been rolling through my head. Here I am living at home. I lived on a farm and growing up drinking from the time I'm a kid. And I'm literally sitting in a bar September 10th, 2001. I was working for my uncle, not really my uncle, but like one of my dad and mom's best friends that owned a bar, and I was rewiring the lights in there. So I'd go in after hours and work when the bar closed, and come back in, work until it opened. And well, then that's the end of my shift. So, and it was a real short time. It was only about closed for about 6 hours. So sometimes I'd have to work in certain areas of the bar. Well, I just get done, start drinking, get liquored up, and then go home, go to bed, wake up about noon, start it over again. And September 10th, I had to go get some parts, and I was driving down the road, and I look up and I see this Marine sign, and my brother-in-law was a Marine, Navy recruiter in Jackson, Michigan, and I was in Jackson. I said, I'm gonna swing by the recruiting office. I'm gonna join today. And I swung by, and I was gonna join the Navy. I wanted to be a SEAL, like my big brother
Mm.
that died. And by his own hand. And I pulled in the lot, walk up, and my brother-in-law was like, "Hey, bud, what's going on?" I said, "Hey, I'm gonna join today." He's like, "I can't let him. Your sister will divorce me." And the Marine recruiter pops out and says, "Why would you want to be one of those swabbies? You can come be the best." And um, he goes, "I heard stories of you. I've hunted with you." Because I knew the recruiter, Staff Sergeant Owens. He's like, "I've hunted with you. You could be a sniper, a recon guy." I was like, "All right." So when I came in, they promised me contract recon. It was reservist. They said, "Well, my brother-in-law is tells him, he goes, hey, if you lie to him, I'm gonna have your job," because my brother-in-law was a chief and he was a staff sergeant
Yeah.
in the same office, and because little bitty town, or not little bitty, but a smaller town, Jackson, Michigan, big from where I'm from, but yeah, so I roll in there. They said, "Well, you got to take the ASFAB real quick." So they go, "Well, we're leaving in just a little bit." So I drove up to Lansing, Michigan. He took me up to Lansing, Michigan, and I signed up. Um, took the ASFAB or whatever. Um, and as you know, what happens the next day?
Yeah. Yeah. You're in.
Yeah, you're in, buddy. You're going. It's just like the story of my life. It's like, jump in with both feet before you realize the water's either boiling or freezing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I'm very familiar with Jackson, Michigan. A lot of my family are up there. That's where my cousin, he was a
hmm
sheriff's deputy in Hillsdale County. You obviously know that.
That's
So
where
you're
I
familiar with
enlisted
it.
out of. Yep, I was
Yeah.
living in Hillsdale uh, when I joined.
So you kind of know the area. I know the
hmm
area. I'm pretty familiar with it. I know Lansing. Been around all that place up there.
Yeah, it's a small world. Hopefully
Yeah.
today MSU gets it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Spartans.
hmm
Uh, so when you joined the Marine Corps, did you ever imagine the path that it would take you on?
Not at all. See, when I joined, I thought I was going to go in and, obviously, like everybody else, my recruiter said this. Well, my recruiter said I was an idiot because I was a journeyman electrician and I'd
Yeah.
just gotten my master's license. It didn't take effect, I don't believe yet. But either way, I'd just gotten my master's electrical license in another state. And he's like, "Man, why are you going to do this?" I said, "I need discipline." And he's like, "Well, you'll definitely get that there, buddy. You're going to get you some discipline, all right. You're going to get a boot in the butt." And um, I never thought my path would, I'd be sitting here. I thought I'd be sitting in a bar in a dump of a house and never imagined I'd be living in a nice home, going to the VA 3 times a week to get either metal removed or something. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's definitely, that's a huge change from civilian life to going into the Marine Corps. They are
Yeah,
the
it's
baddest of the
huge.
bad. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I always loved the Marine Corps. When I was younger, I'd been in trouble as a juvenile and I wanted to go in the
hmm
Marine Corps, but they wouldn't take me because of my juvenile record. However,
hmm
if I joined the National Guard and was able to get a waiver through them and served under the Guard for a few years, I would have been able to enlist in the Marines afterwards. So that was
hmm
kind of my plan, but unfortunately, I sabotaged that plan. Even though I had already got the waiver through the colonel at the armory, I had a discussion with him and all that stuff, and unfortunately, I sabotaged that plan, and that didn't work out. But in hindsight, I'm here supporting our veterans and our
hmm
first responders, so it works out.
You know what? Ultimately, God's in control of all that. So we can do our best as kids, but we were all stupid at one time.
Yeah.
And I'm still stupid most of the time. Just ask my wife.
Yeah, we can all be knuckleheads at times, and
Mhm.
we never grow out of it.
Mhm.
Uh, how did growing up in such a difficult and abusive environment shape who you became as a Marine?
Well, I went in the Marines, and when I went to the recruiting station, I could run an 18-minute 3 mile. And they were like, "This guy can run an 18-minute 3 mile." And I was boxing and just doing MMA and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, I can do max crunches and run." Well, they're like, "Well, how many pull-ups can you do?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I never tried one." And they just looked at me like, "Is this guy for real?" I could barely do one pull-up, like barely do one pull-up. So I get to the recruiting station and they're like, "This guy can only do one pull-up." So they wavered me to go to pork chop platoon or PCP, the physical readiness platoon or whatever it is. And they knew I was going there, and I begged them to let me go. I was like, and they're like, "Well, you won't make it. You they're horrible to you in there. Plus, you got to stay longer." And I'm like, "I don't
Right.
care." And they're like, "Why would you want to sabotage your life? I mean, you're an electrician." And I was like, "Well, my abusive father, there's nothing you can put me through that my abusive father didn't beat the hell out of me, and from, not my dad, but went through sexual trauma to um, physical trauma to just verbal abuse constantly." And I didn't even know what verbal abuse was. I thought it was just that's your old man berating you, and which I know now is verbal abuse.
Right.
And when I went in, um, a lot of it was the same. So, I had a lot easier time when someone's screaming in my face next to me, just focusing on the job while somebody's screaming next to you to stay focused on the mission. Um, but it was difficult. By the end of boot camp, I was selected for the Marine Raider program. And that was when they were just coming out with it. And it was pretty crazy, like coming out of boot camp to, you know, getting sent to a battalion and going on a MEU to getting selected for the Raider program, was just, it was only a God thing.
Hmm. So, with the Marine Raider program, what was their mode of operation?
Well, for us, we went to what's honestly back then is there was no MARSOC. They were spinning up MARSOC, and there was a lot of guys from like Det 5 and Force Recon and different units like that. Um, I went in and went to what's betterly known as an amphibious raid company. Boat
Oh, I lost you.
raid company, and I knew I was going to Afghanistan, so I trained. I went to the mountains, trained at those forces to find out I'm only, we go on a float, deployment, and we're not headed, the direction they're saying we're headed, and we could start figuring out we're headed to the Middle East as we started hitting the ports. The senior guys were like, "Dude, we're not going to Afghanistan." They would have just, I mean, we're already in Thailand or Philippines, and we're supposed to be today in Hawaii. Like we were headed straight there, and they put us on the border of Iraq, and instantly we landed. They took us right to the border, and we started doing some operations in a few other countries that bordered Iraq right off the bat, doing reconnaissance and survey mostly, and you know, taking out radar sites when the initial thing took off to doing other things.
So that brings us into your combat service. So you served 5 combat tours in Iraq. What stands out the most when you look back on those years?
Sorry, my headset disconnected.
Uh-oh.
No,
Can
it's
you
all
hear
right.
me?
I can hear you. It's fine. Can you hear me just fine?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, just make sure it's not too echoey or anything.
Yeah.
Um, could you repeat that question one more time, sir?
So you served 5 combat tours in Iraq. What stands out the most when you look back on those
Well,
years?
I did 3 in the Marine Corps, and then I served 2 as a support element during that time, so a total of 5. But 3 actual hooking and jabbing on the ground. What stood out the most is the resiliency of man on both sides. You know, the will to live. Um, if somebody, if you're trying to kill somebody or they're trying to kill you, the ability to survive and how much enough of that will to survive can eventually be. You're no longer being hunted or in the hunt, life becomes very boring.
Uh-oh.
Have time to think. So that's when I've seen a lot of military guys commit suicide. It was like you felt more safer in country with a weapon and getting shot at, a couple times a week, to daily mortared, to just not being, not caring anymore. I mean, when I gave up, when I finally said, "Uncle, I'm gonna commit suicide. Um, I've had enough." I, I lost my will to live. I lost my focus. I lost my North Star. And the Marines and the Raiders, this is my business hat. But in there you'll see the stars. And then you see First Marines and all the Marine Corps things, you'll see these set of 5 stars. And that's the Southern Cross. Because in World War II, and they train us, they're like, make sure you always keep your North Star, right? I mean, always keep that star you're guiding. But when I got out, I lost all sense of purpose and all sense of pride, and not necessarily pride, because I had pride. I had too much pride. And I put the cart before the horse, and I fell. I fell very hard.
Yeah. So what caused you to fall? I mean, did you lose your sense of purpose, or
Mm,
what
I
was the
did.
action behind that?
I did. I lost my sense of purpose because when I first got out, I started doing things that I thought, I'm going to do things that I want to do. And, what I wanted to do was play music. So I toured, played with Jamie Oldiker, who was Eric Clapton's drummer, and we got to play with everybody out there. I mean, that's pretty big and famous in the Texas or Southern rock market.
Right.
He was Eric Clapton's drummer, Bob Seger, started the Tractors and Brooks and Dunn, and I lost focus of God. Like for me, I'm not gonna get all preachy, super preachy. I don't want to, make people mad or anything, but I lost focus of God. And when I took my eyes off the North Star, um, it's kind of like, um, uh, you know, have you ever watched The Chosen? It's a TV series. It's about the Bible. But anyways, Peter
Mm-hmm.
gets out of the boat. Jesus says, "Get out of the boat." And he gets out and he starts basically moonwalking across the water.
Cross water. Yeah.
And when he takes his eyes off Jesus, he started to sink.
Yeah.
Well, people can say you can go to church and you can do all this stuff, you won't have any problems. Well, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely a lie that the enemy wants, because I became so consumed with going to church, but you can go to church and not have a relationship with God.
Exactly.
And I was that man that was going to church and berating his wife all the way home, and not doing the right thing and just being a turd ball. And my mental health was spiraling, and everyone's saying, "You need help. Get help." Oh, I don't need it. I was a Marine Raider. I don't need help. I'm one of the best of the best. They picked me because I have these tendencies to just whoop some butt. And that's an absolute lie from the pit of hell. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to say, I'm uncle, I need help. Because I remember during in between 2 and 3, my second and third deployment, I stuck a gun in my mouth on base when my roommate walked in with a bottle of whiskey, and he's like, "You need to go see the wizard," which we call the base. I went over there and I went to tell him what was happening, and my staff NCOs walked in and they're like, "Hey, don't tell him anything. You're going to be a platoon sergeant. You want to be a platoon sergeant? This or this. We're sending you to 3-1. You'll be a platoon sergeant for PSD and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine. Nothing happened." You know, when they should have said, "You need to worry about you."
Yeah.
I probably would have still be in the military, which praise God, everything worked out the way it did because I
Mhm.
wouldn't be married and everything else. But I probably would have stayed in if I would have been able to focus a little bit on mental health because I was just breaking. I was swimming. It's like you're swimming and you're running like when they drown proof you in the pool. It's like you're running out of oxygen. You're running out of strength. You really can't go anymore. I mean, this is where they say they push you to failure. You are drowning, and what you really need to do is let it all out, sink to the bottom of the pool, kick off the bottom, and push to the top of the pool. The trick to that is let it all out, not a little. Because if you let a little out and there's a little burps of oxygen in your lungs, you're going to get caught in the middle of the pool. You're not going to be able to hit the bottom and you won't be able to push off. So you'll drown. Essentially, you're going to drown because you're not letting it all out.
Yeah.
And I learned that and I put that and I just thought of that as I was saying this. When God was telling me to let everything out, let it go, I decided to leave a little bit in my lungs. I can't release this oxygen because if I let it go, I'm going to drown. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to drown. That's why they call it drown proofing. The SEALs, recon, raiders, all of us do it. Anybody in a pool or an amphibious unit have to do it. But it's the most unnerving sense of purpose is to let it all out, to let it go. That's how they select Delta and like the real high tier units because those guys are masters at letting it go. They're almost sociopathic so well they can let it go.
Right.
But even then, they can't let it go. And that's why the guys that can't let it go, and a lot of them are either just playing 3 sheets to next Wednesday or they kill themselves. And that's why we have I believe personally, a stigmatism in the military. I don't believe right now we don't have a stigmatism of people saying, uh, don't go get help because everybody's saying go get help. It's okay to not be okay. The problem is to accept the help
Yeah.
and do the work because it hurts. It sucks. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to let that oxygen out and sink to the bottom of the pool and kick off and get back in the fight. It's unnatural. And guys they don't want to do the work.
So let's talk about a situation where you had said before, and I quote, I gave orders, people died. So
Yeah.
that being said, that is a heavy weight. Can you talk about that and what
Yeah.
that responsibility did to you mentally and emotionally?
It destroyed me. Yeah, I was in a huge firefight. I was a corporal, and I was in a huge firefight, and I went in the Marines at 20. I was 21 years old, and most of the guys are 17, 18 years old. So I had a little more age on them. Not saying I was always the most mature one, but by this time I was, 23, 24, and these guys are 17, 18 years old. And I'm like, hey, no, you go over here, you go over here. The lieutenant didn't know what to do. I mean, he kind of did, but
one of our Marines, the platoon sergeant that was there, got killed, and um, I was assistant platoon sergeant. So he's asking me, he's like, "Hey, Corporal, what do we do?" I'm like, "Okay, first we gotta, consolidate ammo. We gotta do this, do this, do this." And I mean, because he was a second lieutenant, he just got there a few months before we deployed, and um, so I got promoted meritoriously to sergeant, became the platoon sergeant as a sergeant, um, and I'd already done a couple combat tours and supported a unit at that time. So, I had a little experience, and we went about 100 yards in front of a mosque. Um, and a guy told me, he says, "Hey, you should focus on the mosque. That's where they're going to be." And the officer's like, "No, we need to focus out there." And I said, "Yeah, I agree with the officer, because we're taking fire from that wadi." And a guy stuck a barrel of an AK out the mosque and sprayed the back of my machine gunner, and he died. And but I gave him the orders to not focus on that mosque. And it was a real tough time. I had I've been in counseling for over a year, and it still stings like the day it happened. You know. But the thing is it's to recognize they could have came from either direction. I can't control it. I didn't know, And another thing is, even if I made that mistake and I was wrong, unless I let the baton go, unless when I'm handing off that baton to the guy in front of me, unless I fully let go of that baton, the race is over. We all lose.
Yeah.
So I can't change that decision ever again.
I mean, it seems like basically, in a sense, that you agreed with your commanding officer, and you're basically following his orders.
I followed my commanding officer's orders. He was wrong. We were both wrong, me and him, and my assistant platoon sergeant was right. But yeah,
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There's no way to know.
there's no way to know.
You're doing the best thing you can in the way you were
Mhm.
trained to do it.
Mhm.
And it's a heavy weight to bear.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not easy to lose somebody. I don't know that from personal experience, but I can just tell I can feel it from you.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know, uh, and it's sad and it's unfortunate, and
Mhm.
obviously it's taken a toll on you mentally and emotionally. Now, was that part of your downward spiral after you got out of the military?
Absolutely. Part of my downward spiral is everyone was saying you need to cry uncle, and I kept telling them I'm okay, because as a Marine in a dive platoon, whether you're a diver or not, you do a lot of training, and F's are very important. F's. I'm okay. I feel fine. When you're in the pool, you have to say that, and you do give the okay sign. Because for one thing is, if you can't close your fingers, or you can watch them, like they're drunk, or they actually act like they're drunk, then they could have blood vessels messing in their head, and they can't say the F's. A lot of sheriff's department, like your cousin, or you know,
Mm.
they say the F's, and when they focus on the F's, they're really focusing on those, because it's like, uh, you can hear that. So I wasn't focused. I lost focus.
Right.
And I kept saying, I feel fine. And all the people around me are like, you're not fine. You're out of control. You're a jackass. And I lost focus, and I refused to accept that help. Everyone's saying you need help. I knew I wasn't okay, but I wasn't willing to do the work. It's only when you're willing to do the work is when your life will becoming unspiraled. It's like a pilot. What do they teach the old pilots to do when the plane stalls? Point towards the ground. Why would you want to pull it up if you're
Right.
going to crash and burn?
Rolling, yeah. You go
It's
down.
totally unnatural. You got to point towards the ground. And that's what,
Right.
when you need help, you got to point towards the ground. You got to point towards what hurts you. And every time, I mean, you could ask my wife. I went to counseling over and over again, had different mentors, and it would last about 2 weeks. I met this organization called Operation Roger. I believe they're in North or South Carolina by fully accident. I looked up counseling online, and my counselor, Mrs. Alarola, and she reached out after a suicide attempt and said, "Hey, I'm willing to help you. Are you willing to do the work?" Well, I showed up the first time half-assed, and excuse the language. She's like, "Well, obviously you don't give a shit. Why should I?" And I was like, But no. She's like, "You didn't put any effort into this homework I gave you." And I'm like, "Okay, I ain't coming back to this." And I get done, and my wife's like, if you're not willing to do this, I'm not willing to do this. And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll go back." And I did the homework, and she was like, "There you go." And I start feeling like, next thing I know, it's like 6 months down the road. I meet her every week. It's a friendship. We've developed a friendship bond. Not really friendship. I mean, she's my counselor,
Yeah.
but it's this bond that I can wait until the end of the week. It feels good to be able to get it off my chest.
Right.
It's like a balloon that's about to pop or a boiling pot. It's just taking a little water off, little water off, little water off. Pretty soon there's not much water in the pot. It's not boiling over all the time.
Right.
And it's been so good since I started saying I got help. Last year was the worst year of my life. I lost my brother, my sister. My business basically went to hell. And I've been writing a book for 10 years. Um, and in December, I got hit by a drunk driver, and I was like, "God, I try to kill myself. You won't let me die." And then I almost died from a stupid car accident. What the heck?
Right.
So I get in this head-on collision, get life flighted, and I'm sitting there just hurting. And I'm like, "God, you just want me to suffer." For like the first week, that's where I was at. I was in my pity party like everybody else. Here we are again. Buddy's learning to walk again, just
Right.
like getting wounded a few times in the Marines. I'm in my pity party. Well, God's like, "You need to pull up your big boy's pants because I'm not done with you yet." And I literally made the decision, if I'm not going to die, I might as well live.
Right.
But I'm going to be honest, I was on that, as the Bible says, Petros, I was on that bottom. I was on that rock. I was on the ground. I couldn't go any further. I mean, I was literally in hell. I was in a mental breakdown. So I started focusing on mental health. And I finally I started putting forth, I would say when I started, about 20% effort. And even with that 20% effort, I was seeing enormous results in my life and in my marriage and in all around me. People are like, "Buddy, you're not looking like you're ready to start a pistol." I mean, and
Right.
then I started putting 50%, and now I put, like, I would say 70, because how much really, I mean, it's just amazing when you start putting those little efforts in, the fruit you will get out of this.
Right. You're absolutely right, brother. Um, so survivor guilt, that's a real thing. And
Mhm.
is that something a lot of veterans battle on a day-to-day basis? And how has that played a role in your life?
Oh man, survivor's guilt's probably the worst. Um, In between a couple tours, I was wounded, and my friends couldn't go. I couldn't go with my friends, the other Raiders, and almost my whole team died. Almost my whole unit died, like literally. Almost all those guys I went to boot camp with, SOI, schools, assault climbers, scout swimmers, gunfighters, all that, they were gone. And they were sending me around the country to the parents. And the parents knew me, and they're like, "Why are you here? But my son's dead."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember I handed a flag to a mom, and she cussed me out at a funeral, right in the middle of the funeral. CNN's in the background. Obviously, they muted it because she was just cussing, swearing. I mean, she wasn't really cussing me out. I've learned that in the future, like now.
Yeah.
But she was just swearing at me, like just in a rage. Like, I didn't want him to join. It's your fault. You're the one that should have died. Why did you get to scam out of it? Why are you here when you didn't die with your team? And it was like I'm shaking just thinking of you know, how bad it was. And I couldn't believe why God would allow me to live. And it's men who are young. I can't have kids. And one of our Marines, Zerhad, his wife was pregnant when we left.
Mm.
And the couple days before he was supposed to come back, and he got killed, his baby was born.
Wow.
And that affected me. Ooh, like just saying it right now just was like, wow. And then a few others, like one of our officers on another deployment, same thing. His wife was pregnant when we were leaving, and he got killed. He's the officer with me that got killed, and or wounded in Haditha, Iraq, and then he died later. But I would say survivor's guilt is probably one of the most poisonous pills to swallow, because as you swallow one, it gets easy to swallow two, and it can spiral into, you can believe what the enemy is telling you, and that can spiral into addictions, and just really, really bad, unhealthy behaviors.
Right. That is true. I mean, if you don't have an appropriate outlet, you can spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So now, looking back, what do you wish someone had said to you during those darkest days in uniform?
It's going to get worse before it gets better. Like when you get out, you're going to say, "I'm okay. I feel fine." Just remember that's a lie. You're not fine. And it will get worse before it gets better.
All right.
And you'll have the eye of the hurricane sometimes. Life's a journey. Focus on the destination and go. But there's going to be hills. You're going to get to the top and you're going to be like, "Dude, I can see everything. It's so beautiful." And you're going to be walking and you're going to fall off the side of the hill, go down in the mud, and stick your head like a yard dart in the poop. And you're going to go, "This sucks." And you're going to be like, "I can't see past the fog layer." And I think a lot of times we focus and we hit that fog layer and we can't see through it. So once we get to that fog layer, it's like, okay, just go through the fog layer of that hill. Like in a mountain, you're in Kentucky, you both know, or West Virginia or Kentucky.
Kentucky.
When you hit that fog layer, there's still a ways to go, man. You ain't at the top of that hill yet. But when you get to the top of the hill, it's just beautiful.
Right.
But when you hit that fog layer and you're like, "Well, shit, I'm blind. I can't see anything." Just keep going. Just keep pumping your feet. Like I said before, like, coach is going to watch us. I guarantee Coach, my football coach, And I'm gonna tell you what he told us. When you if you get and you hit that line, when that guard pulls, if you're a running back or a fullback, I was a fullback. If you hit that hole and you stand up, you're gonna get beat to hell, fall driven back. So all those guys watching football today that are armchair quarterbacks, watch that fullback hit that hole. He hits it at 100 miles an hour and he drives his feet until he can't drive them no more.
Right.
That's why you hit the sled. So he used to say, drive your feet till you drive no more. And if you're still driving them and no one's hitting you, open your eyes, fool, because you may see someone hit you from the side, but run for the glory. And when you get to the end, do a funny dance. That's what he used to tell us. But drive those feet and just keep going through that clouded layer until you get to the top. I mean, um, don't quit. Suicide's it's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Right. Yeah. Suicide doesn't fix anything. And I mean, you obviously had several attempts on yourself. And obviously, you were meant to be here. There was a purpose for you being here. And your story wasn't written yet.
Mm-mm.
So that's what's going to move us on to healing and creativity through music. So after your lowest point, you started touring the world with country bands. And as a drummer, how did music become a lifeline for you?
Well, I was a songwriter and I played rhythm guitar, but I played with, like I said, Jamie Oldacre's Clapton, Sky and stuff. And what really saved my life was I could say things in songs and art, like writing books and other stuff that I could never say. And I could take those deep, dark secrets that, people say that every person on the planet has a secret
Right.
of some kind that you think in your mind, if I told somebody, even God, which is the stupidest thing, it's like, okay, God knows everything. Why wouldn't I tell God? Because he already knows everything. But, anyways, it's like I have this secret, but you can start pulling out those little elements and put it in a song. And as the first time you write a song, so I wrote a song called Soldier's Prayer, is on the Billboard charts. First time I heard somebody listen to that song, and I started seeing a tear coming down his eye. And he said, "This is beautiful." And I thought, "Oh, okay, cool." And I could see it affect him. And Jamie Johnson, he's a country singer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a Marine too. So I wish we could get him on here.
Yeah.
He's a Marine sergeant. Told me something one time. I asked him a question. I was at a gig and he was there. We played together on a show once, and I asked him. I said, he said, "What's my?" I said, "What?" I remember how it came up, but he's like, "So what's your favorite song I've written?" I said, "That's why I write songs." He goes, "Most people's never even heard of that or remember that one." And in that thing, he talks about all the songwriters and the first time you hear a grown man cry. As a kid, I never remember seeing grown men cry really, unless it was a song, the national anthem, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But you never saw grown men cry. I know where you're from, they don't. They don't where I'm from either. Grown men just didn't cry. But if you heard it in a baseball game, you know, a sporting event, something weird, a guy would cry. But if it's an emotional thing for the family, he wouldn't. But in a song, you can be anybody.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard somebody cry, a grown man cry, a guy that I thought was, unable to move. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be nice if you could get Jamie Johnson on here. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Uh, do you remember the first time you wrote a song and felt like this is therapy?
I do. I wrote a song. Uh, it's called "Rescue Me," and the title says it all. And I was at a point where I wanted to die, and that song morphed into the song "Jesus, You Are the Calm." I was sitting there with my Benelli 1014, and I said, "Jesus, if you can't calm me, I'm going to shoot myself." And I started pouring out these killer lyrics started pouring through my head, and it was like it forced me. I'm an old school. I had a pen and I started writing it down on the back of a old lyric paper, and I still have it in my office. And I was just like, Lord, Jesus, you are the calm. And to me, that calmed my spirit because I knew He was listening and I knew He could hear me, but I never thought He cared, and I could really feel Him caring.
Mhm.
Like at the moment, He knew how to stop me. He knew what it was going to take. Not that that's for everybody, and not that's everybody. Hey, go sit in a room with a 12 gauge, going to shoot yourself if God doesn't give you a killer song. That's not what I'm saying. But for me that day, that's when He knew what I needed to feel,
Right.
and that
He
was
gave
right
you
after
the
my brother's death.
yeah. Yeah, he definitely gave you the heart and the inspiration for
Mm,
your spirit to kind of guide you in that
mhm,
aspect.
absolutely.
Uh, so, what's your favorite memory of touring live and your wild or funny stories that you can share?
Hmm. I got a lot of funny ones. Um, I was playing with a guy, and I got to open for a band called Cutlass.
Hmm.
And it was a Christian band, and Tom T. Hall, the country star from the like 70s, was the main act. So it was me, Cutlass, and Tom T. Hall. Well, one of the guys in Cutlass's band put pudding on the inside of his strap. Because what they would do is they used to put their guitar in and spin it around and it would go around. Well, they did it on the day they wore white shirts,
Oh,
and they put chocolate pudding. Well, the guy that put chocolate pudding put flour in the other guy's drum head. So when he goes. So the guy that did that thought, ha 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 ha. Well, he didn't know the other guys had already pulled a prank on him with the pudding. So he threw that on, thinking, ha ha, I got him. When whoop, and it was just so funny. And I was like, luckily I played first because there's no way I could have ever saw that. And it was some of the guys from Cutlass, the Christian band. And then Tom T. Hall gets up and sings I Like Beer. It makes me a jolly good fellow. And I thought, this is the funniest thing ever. You got a Christian guy who's lost and is like doing Christian half rock. So you got the full spectrum, and you got the full Jesus thumper, and then you got the full the total opposite. I like beer, and then he sings I Saw the Light, and you're like, okay, where are we at today, guys? We're just a bunch of clowns, you know.
we're confused.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. And then I saw a band in Nashville. They were playing, and the drummer was liquored up, and the the drumstick flew and hit the drummer in the back of the head. And right in the middle of the show, they started duking it out at Old Reds, and this was in a long time ago. And the band kept playing,
Right.
and then the guitarist gets up and starts singing, and they finish the show acoustic. And they're best friends still today. This little band I heard, I don't know, but it's just stuff like that you see. You're like, I can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is just stupid, but that's some funny things.
Um, so moving on, uh, you wrote a book
The Sword of Autumn. Yeah, it's right here. I got a copy of it. It's
Sword of Autumn. Okay.
The Sword of Autumn. As a kid, the best gift someone ever gave me was the ability to read. So when my dad was beating my mom and everything else, I would hide in my room, or right after I was molested, I'd hide in my room and read and just tear up any book I could read, any book.
We will return after this quick ad break.
The William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation is on a mission to honor first responders and support those who serve. We provide scholarships for families who have lost a hero in the line of duty, offer second chances to juvenile offenders who are working to rebuild their future, and help new recruits pursuing careers as first responders. Through generous donations and the sale of merchandise, we're building a community that uplifts, empowers, and creates lasting impact. You can be a part of this mission as well. Visit 8158podcast.com to donate or shop today. Together, we can support those who serve, honor those we've lost, and give hope to those who need it most. Behind every badge is a story, and behind every story is a sacrifice. This is the 8158 podcast, where we honor the lives and legacies of first responders and their families. If our mission speaks to your heart, if these stories move you like they move us, join us on Patreon. For just $5 a month, you'll get ad-free listening, exclusive merchandise, behind-the-scenes content, and video episodes only available to our patrons. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you can be a part of it. Support us at patreon.com/8158podcast. Let's continue to share the stories that deserve to be heard.
So I started writing about 10 years ago, these 6 kids, because I'm super nerd. I'm even wearing a Dungeons and Dragons shirt, with a hunting hat on. I mean, it's really intelligent, but it's like it's literally, sorry, I'm getting hot. But the Sword of Autumn's about these 6 kids, kind of like Narnia. They go on an adventure. And every book, I've written 2 of them now. I finished the other one the other day. It has all this education in there, and they deal with it as a team. Like coming from a Raider background, it's like these high school kids learn how to develop as a team, and then they deal with their traumas. They have to. It's not like in a book that they go out and kill 100 bad guys and they don't have PTSD.
Right.
Even if it's for good or honor or dignity. In the book, these characters get PTSD, and I'm doing a video game as well based off this book series, and you can pick it up on Amazon. I've always told people this: email me if you can't afford a copy, and I'll send one free to your kid, digital. I can't afford to send them a hard copy book, but I think every kid should have the ability to read. If you can't afford one, I will send you one for free.
Yeah.
So.
That's pretty awesome. You spent 10 years writing that book?
Mm-hmm. 10 years. I started in 2000. I started 2005, right before my dad died, and I just finished about 5 weeks ago. And I got it edited and got it online. My friend did the cover for me. My buddy Franklin did the cover for me. Me and him did. And just God opened the doors. But I had so much material that I was able to do like 2.5 books with it. So
how does your personal story tie into the world you created through this book?
to be totally honest, when I was going through what's called SEER school, they told us about World War II and Korean War vets and Vietnam vets when they were POWs or severely wounded. They created worlds in their minds where they built their farms. They changed an old 451 rocket or 455 rocket, and they replaced the heads and the motors. In their mind, they took off every screw. I was catastrophically wounded, and they said I would never walk again or be able to see out of my right eye. I got shot right above the right eye. A round ricocheted and broke into little fragments, struck me in the face, hit my lip, and when I was in that place in a bed where they said you can't walk again, I literally sat there and taught myself. I built this world in my mind. And what I did is I started taking my personal traumas and placing them in these kids. Obviously, it's for, I'd say about 16 on up. Anybody can read it. 12-year-old can read it, and it's perfectly nothing vulgar or anything.
Right.
But to fully grasp the full of it, I think is about 15, 16 years old, all the way to like I've had 50-year-old men, 60-year-old men read this book and say, it's phenomenal. But what I did is I placed my own traumas in this book. Each one of these 6 characters are a personality of me. It's almost like a multiple personality of me. And they go on this adventure. And the second book that I'm releasing later this week, next week, it really goes deep into the whole what was I going to say? It goes deep into forgiveness and seeking that forgiveness and forgiving others and getting mental health help and fighting your own personal demons. I used to have a saying, and I started writing a song. I fight demons and I win.
Right.
It's about winning.
Fighting demons, winning the battles,
Mm-hmm.
being victorious in that arena. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
You know,
We all fight demons.
oh, absolutely. There ain't a person on this planet that don't fight an internal demon.
Right.
So, someone could say, well, I was never a military and I wasn't abused. I can tell you can get something out of this. And like I said, the best gift you could ever give anyone in watching this, if you have a young one, teach them to read and read with them. I don't say give them books and say go read. I say sit down, even if it's 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week. I can promise you that will be the highlight of those kids' lives if you teach them to read and read with them, even at an older age.
Exactly.
My uncle would read with me when I was 16 years old. He'd say, grab a book and let's read. We'd sit on a porch, he'd smoke his pipe, and we'd read. We read Lord of the Rings together.
That's awesome. I like
One of the Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit. I'm sorry, it was The Hobbit.
Yeah.
But still.
Same concept, same
Mm-hmm.
kind of storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all in the same arena. So
yeah, absolutely. It's fantasy arena.
Yeah. So I love it all. So you'd said that you have big plans for the future for starting a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
for military brats and designing a video game that
Yes,
says
I
it's
do.
okay not to be okay. Why is that
Exactly.
mission personal for you?
That mission is personal to me because all the people in my life would say, just suck it up and keep pumping your feet.
Mm-hmm.
You can't suck it up. That's faking it. And that's being a liar. God doesn't want you to be a liar because you're not okay. If you're a kid that's gone through abuse or an adult that's gone through abuse or even regular, personal, everyday life, there's stresses that you weigh as a guy. There's stresses men have, there's stresses women have. We all have this thing called identity crisis. And I believe we all could, fine tune our abilities to be better human beings. I mean, if there wasn't, there'd be no purpose for schools, there'd be no purpose for doctors, there'd be no purpose for lawyers.
Right.
There'd be they wouldn't have a job. Let's put them out of jobs, like not in a bad way, but like I mean, you've talked offline, and the stress of it is of maintaining a family and providing financially, and That's stressful.
It is.
What is post-traumatic stress disorder? When your internal sensors have been stressed so much that it starts, like burning out and all this other stuff. Traumatic, yes. So post traumatic stress disorder. Well, I know when you're having to carry all this weight, that's traumatic. It's not normal. It's not natural. It's not natural to be under stress all the time. Why do guys have heart attacks all the time?
Constantly stressed.
Constant under stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everybody can get some help. So last week I talked with our lawyer. We're starting a nonprofit. It's going to be kind of like STEAM. We're going to release family friendly, no agenda games, where anybody can play them. I'm not getting political. I'm apolitical, 100%, like anybody else. But there's going to be no politics in these games. It's going to be straight. Kids can eat dirt, play in mud, and be kids. And we can all be proud of that they can just be kids. No, bring back some values, some
Right.
good, wholesome values that we feel is wholesome, and that's what we're going to run with.
Some of the same things that we grew up with.
Yes.
Running outside, we didn't have technology. We didn't have a lot
Mhm.
of stuff. So we created and invented things to do when we were kids outside.
Yeah, I mean, how many times that stick was a sword and a gun in a
Yeah.
week? We could play Cowboys and Indians, and that was okay. I mean, we could do things that was okay back in the day. That today, if we said, we'd be crucified. I mean,
Right.
and I'm like, let that kid be a kid, man. Let that kid play in dirt. Let that kid make a few mistakes. I'm not going to force any identity onto that kid. That kid needs to discover that for himself. That's how God created him. That kid needs to find himself. Yes, I can guide him. Yes, I'm going to put a boot in his butt if he's wrong. But that kid needs to make a few mistakes. I can tell that kid that burner's hot until he gets a little, temperatures on his hands to feel the heat. That's just a movie to him.
Right.
But we want to bring back some good, wholesome entertainment for kids.
Right.
No agendas, and that's right or left.
Right.
Like just good, wholesome entertainment. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. That's pretty awesome. And hopefully, that I'm sure that will come to fruition.
Oh yeah, it's going to be
We'll
Pale
use
Rider 5 games.
Bill Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome. So what role do you think video games and creative media can play in helping people deal with PTSD?
I think video games can be amazing for PTSD. For one, modern video games can be really, really healing because for me, I'm disabled. I'm at home. I don't get to leave the house too much. And I can go online and chat with my buddies 2 or 3 times a day. So I developed community. There's the games we want to make that actually have some real wholesome. There's a mechanic that I invented called Sword and Light, is where you make real life decisions. There's real life consequences in the game.
Yeah.
Not you get to come back and spawn and keep making stupid mistakes. There's real life consequences in the game. You know, you can die and be permanently dead in this game. You can hack somebody up and actually your character can become a mess by your decisions.
Yeah.
You can also heal through this decisions. This is the first game I've ever known that's actually going to have we're trying to figure it out how to have counselors in the game where the characters can actually get mental health help in the game.
Right.
Because we can tell these kids it's okay to not be okay. It's also okay to be a strong person, but
Yeah.
it's also I don't believe in that whole toxic uh, masculinity thing. I mean, I think there can be too much of that, yes, but I think to take a toxic, or not toxic, but a masculine guy to be able to say, hey, it's okay to not be okay. I'm going to get some counseling.
Yeah.
Where do you see that? I don't see that every day. Nowadays we are, but when we were kids, we never saw that. Me and you never saw that as a kid.
No.
Tom Laundry or whatever, or you know, John Madden saying, "Hey guys, make sure you're getting your mental health help." No, he'd be like, "Get off your butt and
Suck it up.
suck it up, Buttercup."
Yeah.
He'd be like a gunny out there screaming at you.
Right.
But it's okay to not be okay. It should be. I think mental health should become a checkup, just like any other medical ailment.
Yeah. Exactly. Uh, when this nonprofit becomes a reality, what's the first program or project you want to launch?
Well, the first program we're going to launch is we're going to start taking people that have video game ideas, veterans, non-veterans, just basically anybody that's gone through trauma, and we're going to start mentoring them through counselings and game building. We're going to use game building and counseling as a tool.
Okay.
We'll help you as long as you're getting mental health help and making the best right decisions.
Right.
And we're actually launching it in the next few weeks.
Oh wow.
We've already met with the lawyers and we're drawing up um, the deal and everything else.
Sweet. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's all God, man. My knuckleheadedness couldn't come up that on it, so I'd be thinking of cheeseburgers or fat kid things.
Yeah. I mean, you could also think that, in these games, if you make bad decisions, there's consequences to those bad decisions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You could end up in bad places where you shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
That's why I'm not a big fan of like that GTA games, like where you rob and sell drugs. I mean, like I'm not really into that. Like I think games like that are more destructive than good.
Yeah,
No, but that's just me.
exactly. Um,
I mean, yeah, it's fun. It is fun probably to go steal a car and drive like doom buggy across the yard. But your butt's going to prison, and that's not fun.
no,
Sitting
it
in
is not.
Texas heat. Everyone thinks they want to go to prison until you live in Texas. Because when I used to go there, I would literally, no kidding, I would go in there and it'd be like 115. And you're like, it can't be 115. No, it's like legitimately 115 in some places those guys are at.
Yeah, prison is not fun. It is not a good place to be. There's a lot of bad people there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are some guys in there that make mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
trying to do better for themselves, but the majority
Mm-hmm.
are
Yep.
not.
You're right.
So that is not a good place to be for anybody
No, it's not.
unless you belong there.
Exactly.
So, on a lighter note, if you could jam with any band or artist, past or present, who
Mm-hmm.
would your dream lineup be?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really like Riley Green,
Riley
country
Green?
singer.
Yeah.
Riley Green. I'd have my best buddy Skip Black. He's a North Carolina boy. Played with like Lee Bryce, Lewis Bryce. Plays on the Grand Ole Opry and stuff. I'd have him play guitar. Honestly, as bass player, cello player, I'd have my buddy Gumby. And it's crazy. Most of the guys that I looked up as heroes, I played with. Rich Eckert, Toby Keith's guitar player. I played with him a bunch. Tony Stampley is one of my heroes, and I've written songs with him. Tony's gonna watch this. Tony is an amazing. He wrote "Country Boy Can't Survive," "All My Rowdy Friends," all those old Hank Williams Jr. songs. And that guy's like he's one of my spiritual mentors.
Wow. Very familiar with all those songs.
Me too. A little too much.
I grew up with that stuff.
Uh,
You know, I mean, I grew up listening to Waylon Jennings, Kenny Rogers, Hank Williams Jr., all that stuff, man.
Merle Haggard.
Earl Haggard, yep. He wrote
The Hag.
Yeah, he wrote the song for the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Waylon Jennings.
Yep.
What was that called? I can't remember.
Good Old Boys.
Yeah,
it's
Good
my,
Old Boys.
It's my ringtone on my phone. That is the ringtone. My Good Old Boys theme song is Skip's ringtone. One of my buddies. It's always, he's a famous musician. And then my wife's is Darth Vader. Dun 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 dun. All my friends laugh. They're like, "Must be your wife's calling." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Yep. They're like, "Are you serious? Should she know?" I'm like, "Yep." She picked it.
The Imperial Death March.
That is it, dude. That's my ringtone for my wife. Because I know I'm in deep crap when she's calling.
Yeah.
No news is good news sometimes, as they say.
Yeah.
With spouses.
Since being in war zones and being on the stage, what's scarier, facing enemy fire or performing in front of large crowds?
Large crowds, easy. Yeah. Honestly, because I don't know, like I never found it scary. I mean, I my first time it was like I got scared, and then when I'd get in front of people, I'd be like, "This sucks." Because everybody's going to hear me know I suck, where in a firefight, only about 15 know I suck.
I played in bands. I was in my brother's band. We used to play at festivals, and I played in other bands too. Any genre like jazz, country, classic rock, heavy metal, that stuff. When we used to play in the festivals, it was kind of nerve wracking, but I realized and found out quickly that I would look out over the top of the crowd where they were blurry and I could see the background, and then the nervousness would fade away.
I never thought about that. That'd probably be a good idea.
They're there, but they're not there. You can hear them, but then you're not staring at the crowd, but you're looking out over the crowd in the background, and they're all blurred out.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That'd be a good idea.
That's what helped me kind of overcome that.
I definitely would have to try that.
Because I like I said, I've told people that I'm not a social person. I don't like big crowds, and playing in the bands and stuff, it helped me kind of overcome that. And I had to learn techniques and ways to kind of get over the jitters, especially being nervous on the stage.
Yeah.
So that helped me to kind of block out a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then you get more comfortable, and then you can start kind of getting into the groove. And it helps. It helped me. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, absolutely.
And I was stone cold sober. Everybody else in the band was high on something, but I was sober.
Most of the time, I was too sober. I couldn't play drunk. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the odd man out. But, I guess that was the way it was, but we had fun.
That's the biggest thing.
So tell me, if your life was a song, what title would it be?
Every day's a winding road. That just popped in my head. I don't know why. But yeah, that's it. Or a country boy can't survive.
Yeah, that is true on both ends. Every day is a winding road because you never know where it might lead. And
Mm-hmm.
country boys do survive because we are strong.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
I was born in the city, but my heart belongs to the country, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where I always wanted to be because
Absolutely.
that's just who I am. And I
Absolutely.
hated the city. The city was not good for me.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Country's
it's
where I belong.
yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I am now. We're not like in the country, but we're in a small town on the
Yeah,
outskirts.
that's a good place to be on the outskirts.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love the country. I always have ever since I was a little kid. So, um, so for anyone listening who feels like they're not at rock bottom, what do
Mm-hmm.
you want to say to them right now?
Why wait until you are at rock bottom to get help when you can literally just, as Nike says, just do it. Just go get help. Don't wait until you lose your marriage and have to beg her to come back. Just go do it.
Right.
You know, love life is a lot better when she's not hating you
Exactly.
or he, whatever.
Exactly. I mean, whatever your preferences is, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For me, um, my rock bottom, because I had suffered through sexual abuse myself. I had
Mm-hmm.
suffered through mental and verbal abuse,
Mm-hmm.
emotional abuse, neglect, and a lot of that, it affected me as a child, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't affect me in the way at the moment. And
Mm-hmm.
it didn't boil until after I became an adult. And all those things kept boiling and boiling, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And people would tell me, "You need to get help. You need to get help." And I suffered from panic attacks, and they would just progress and progress and progress. And
Mm-hmm.
the last time I had enough, I'm driving an 18 wheeler fully loaded down the highway, and I
Mm-hmm.
have a full blown panic attack, and everything goes numb, and everything starts to go black.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I was able to pull over because I felt it coming on. And at that point, I had enough.
Oh yeah.
And I should not have waited that long. I shouldn't have took that long to get help. I should have
Mm-hmm.
gone sooner. But that was my breaking point when I had to stop and turn
Mm-hmm.
around. And even my bosses called. They're like, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you coming back?" And I had to
Mm-hmm.
tell them, I'm like, "I'm not good. I'm not okay. I having a serious panic attack and I'm in tears. I'm like, it feels like I'm gonna die. I need to go to the hospital." And they told me to just stop. We'll come get you. And they
Mm-hmm.
took me to the hospital after, my wife had scheduled me an appointment with the doctor real quick, got
Mm-hmm.
in, and they got me on medications so I can get over it real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And we started doing counseling and therapy sessions and stuff along with the medications,
Yeah.
and it helped for the
Oh
time. And
yeah.
then they had to increase the medications. Obviously, my body built up the
Mm-hmm.
tolerance. But right now, I am talking to Dan with healingthehero.org,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
he is doing his thing for me. And I've got one more session. We did 3 sessions so far, and so far it seems to help really well.
That's
And
awesome.
Dan's such an awesome guy, really good guy. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their methods proven through the
Mm-hmm.
universities and collecting all the data for a lot of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
so that they can have a basis of fact.
Mm-hmm.
how their system is helping veterans and first responders and your average person get over
Mhm.
trauma,
Yeah.
PTSD. So, I mean, I did my test with him and I scored extremely high.
Yeah. Wow.
So they say when you score high, that's not good.
No, it's not. Yeah, especially being what you've gone through, especially with your cousin and stuff. That's a tough. I mean, that's taking one on the chin.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely. Um, so where can people find your book and support your mission?
Actually, it would be amazing if people could go to Amazon. It's on Amazon. If not, pr5games.com. Or you have my email. We could post that. BuddyLeeDobber@gmail.com. BuddyLeeDobber@gmail.com.
Okay. So that's buddyleedobber@gmail.com. His book is on Amazon, and the
Mm-hmm.
book is called The Sword of Autumn.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
And so, what kind of genre would you say that your book is? Is that like a nonfiction fantasy type of thing, or is
Well,
it
it's
just
actually fantasy. It's just fantasy.
fantasy? Okay,
Yeah, it's just fantasy, kind of young adults, kind of. It's for all ages. It's all ages, just fantasy. It's really, to me, it's a lot of fun to write. It's like you can get into it.
yeah, um, yeah. I think we might want to get that book.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, I
Really
like
appreciate
Lord of
it.
the Rings. You know, I'm a big Star Wars fan,
Oh,
and
me too.
I'm huge. I mean, my entire room, aside from the
Mhm.
race cars and the westerns, because I love westerns.
Oh, me
You
too.
know,
Yeah,
my whole room is Star Wars and westerns,
yeah. Mhm.
airplanes and helicopters.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So, I mean, yes, I'm kind of a geek. I'm sorry, but hey,
Me
you got to have a
too.
pastime,
Yeah.
and it's better than doing drugs and getting in crazy things. So, and I'm
Yeah.
not doing the podcast and helping people out. I'm out with my RC helicopters and planes, or I'm playing my guitars. I have three guitars hanging on my wall. I got a bass
Mhm.
guitar, an electric guitar, and acoustic guitar. So,
Mhm.
and uh, when you listen to the episodes, I don't know if you listen to the podcast. A lot of the
Mhm.
music that I do
Yeah,
is created by me, either through the guitars that I use on my wall or through GarageBand and putting all the music together.
that's
And
amazing.
so I do all that production stuff with that. If you listen to my cousin's tribute episode, I play the guitar in the background through the
Oh,
entire
wow.
episode. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a nice tribute.
That's beautiful.
So I mean, I do my best. I'm not a professional guitar player, but I have played for quite a few years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love it. I enjoy it, and that's what matters to me.
Mhm.
And I've been able to use it for a great purpose. I'm not trying to be a famous super songwriter, but
Mhm.
it helps me with the podcast.
Absolutely. It just helps me, let off some steam.
Yeah, and we've done some ads for people, and Stop the Threat, Stop the Stigma. I played the
Mhm.
guitar for that one, and then I put the music together for. I don't know if you know Sheriff Mark Lamb. He's retired now. He was Arizona sheriff, run for.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, we did an ad for him because he's doing a new program at 107.com.
Mhm.
So we did his ad, and I put the music together for that, and they just totally loved it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm putting those talents to use in my own way.
It's good therapy.
Yeah. And my girl, my wife, she's like, how come you don't ever play for me? It's always beautiful when you play. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it is, but sometimes I just don't feel like it. And then sometimes I'll just break it out and surprise her, and then she's just like, "Oh,
My wife's like, turn it off.
oh no." Yeah, but so I don't play a whole lot with the dogs around because it scares one of the dogs.
Oh, okay.
The pitch of the sound, it's too much for his ears, so it scares him. So I have to
Yeah.
put him outside.
Yeah.
It's not like hard rock. It's just like like sometimes like the Spanish staccato or the country, the slow mellow countryside.
Hmm.
It's nothing super heavy, so I can think of
Yeah.
the sound. He's not used to it,
Yeah.
but it's pretty awesome though.
Mhm. That is.
So I noticed on your profile in your page you had quite a few pictures of playing on the stage yourself.
Yeah, I played with a lot of people. 38 Special, Skinner, um, Casey Musgraves, Chris Stapleton.
Hmm. I love Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
Is he?
Mhm. Morgan's a real nice lady too. His wife, she's a real nice lady.
Oh, that's awesome.
I met him before they're way famous. Luckily.
Yeah, yeah. I love his music. He does a pretty awesome job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some great people, great music. So, um, did you have anything else you would like to share with us today? We talked about your book and your military history. So, did you have any other uh, anything you want to sponsor?
No, that's about it. That's what I got.
Okay. Yeah, because that's pretty much all we have for you today.
I really
Um,
appreciate it.
you're very welcome, and it's an honor for us. I'd like to stay in contact with you,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Maybe
you know,
write a song or two.
yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I'm not the best songwriter, but I can come up with some jingles and some words.
Yes.
I have my moments that things
Yeah.
come out. I don't know why it just happens, and then
Hmm.
they make sense at the time, and then later on, I'm like, and I just throw it out.
Yeah.
It's weird,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be awesome. We could keep in touch, and
Hmm.
hopefully, we can have you back on here again and see where your other book is going. See how you
Absolutely. I
guys
love
are selling.
that. That'd be great.
And I'm definitely interested in the video games.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Uh, what are you using for your platform? Are you using
Unreal Engine.
okay? Is it are you using PC or console?
Up. We're gonna do all
Okay. Do you have
PC
a
and
PS5 or PS4?
it's gonna be on PS5.
Okay, because that's what I have,
Yeah, man.
and
I,
my
I
handles.
love. Yeah, it'll definitely be on PS5.
Okay, because my
It's a huge
handles
market.
Duck Kraken 77.
Awesome. We'll definitely connect.
It's kind of like you know what the Kraken is, right? In
Oh
the
yeah, of course.
sea, the sea monster.
Mhm.
But I utilize DA Kraken,
Oh, badass. I love that.
yeah, with my 77 per year that I was born. So
Yeah.
because I like sailing stuff. I like pirate ships and all that stuff. That kind of stuff. So
Oh, absolutely. I love that stuff too.
yeah, because Black Flag, uh,
Hmm.
um,
Assassin's
Assassin's
Creed.
Creed Black Flag, that's probably
Hmm.
one of my favorite out of all of the Assassin's Creed. That's probably like one of my favorite
Yeah.
games because I have all of them.
Oh yeah, those good games. I like those games.
Yeah, I have a lot of the Ghost Recons. I have a lot of the Call of Duties, and then I have Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars stuff. I got the VR headset for the PS4.
No, sweet.
Ace Combat. I love playing that on the VR headset, which is kind of tough when you first start playing it because it makes you really sick
Oh, I bet.
until you get used to it. And it took
Yeah.
me a while to kind of play through an entire mission.
Hmm.
I'd have to stop part way through the mission and like, oh my god, because you get sweaty and then you're sick. You're
Oh
like,
yeah, I'd probably throw up.
yeah, it makes you feel like you want to throw up. But I figured
Oh
a
yeah.
trick. I figured a trick out on that. It's like
Hmm.
when you're flying and you're in motion and you like when you're listening to the left or right or you're turning when you make your turns you look and you turn your head into the turns
Hmm.
so that you're looking in the direction and it takes away the motion sickness of it.
Hmm. Motion blur. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I love it. And I also have some combat games with that and have the gun for the PS4, the VR headset.
Oh, that'd be badass. Yeah.
Yeah, Firewall. I don't know if you ever heard of Firewall, but I
Mm-mm.
played that before. And it's kind of like, you know, uh, it's kind of like a Call of Duty, but it's
Hmm.
all VR.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
basically in the game with the gun and you're moving around and you can hide behind walls and dip
yeah.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, so. All right, buddy.
All
Love you,
right,
bud.
man. All right, man. Well,
Uh,
you have a great day. It's some lunchtime here. All
yeah, it is lunchtime here, too.
right, man. Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful day, Rico.
Yeah, keep in touch, reach out, and I'll send you my number so you can call me. Keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All right.
much, sir.
All right, brother. You're welcome. And
All
we
right. Take
appreciate you
care.
coming on here. God
Thank
bless.
you. God bless you. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was Buddy Lee. He's an awesome guy. Served in the Marine Corps, did his time, and obviously has other things lined up. He wants to show his love and support and advocacy for first responders and mental health awareness as well. Um, so if you want to check out his book, go check out his book, The Sword of Autumn. Um, it is on Amazon, and I was thinking about getting it. I would like to get back into reading too. Uh, Instead of being a lump on the log and just watching TV all the time, I'd like to get back into reading. Uh, Aside from that, we just want everybody to know that we're going to keep doing this podcast. We're going to keep supporting our first responders and our military veterans as much as we can um, through the podcast and through the foundation. So just keep following us, keep listening to the ads, keep helping us out, build our algorithms through TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Keep supporting us that way and listen to the ads because that gives us the ad revenue to continue the podcast. So that way it takes the burden off of us of having to use our own money, which we don't mind. That's how we started this thing. But it's getting harder and harder because I have to work harder to make up the money to pay, obviously the bills and then to pay for this. And I'm hoping I am very much hoping that in the near future, I will be getting out of truck driving because it is very hard on the body. It is very hard on the mind. It is very hard on the soul, and it's very hard on the spirit. And the main reason why I want to retire from driving is because I want to focus on the podcast. I want to focus on what we're doing to help our first responders. I want to focus on the the foundation and getting that built up, and I want to focus on getting our merch out to people that have ordered all that stuff. And and I just want to focus on our listeners and getting these messages out. I think it's important. It's needed, and also we have other things that are lined up. We have the Life Coaching Academy coming up that we're gonna produce for you to listen to. Obviously, that's going to cost money, um, but it's just a one-time fee, and then you'll have free access to the courses. So when that comes up, check it out, and that would go a long ways to helping us. And also, I do have plans on wanting to do some public speaking and helping people out that way. We also have other events coming up that we're trying to set up, and we're working towards the coming year for the William H. Bill Butler Foundation. We're going to start an event, and it probably will be in Hillsdale. But we're working with other first responders to get that started. So, with that being said, thank you, everybody. We love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. And keep coming back. We have more guests coming. We have more episodes coming out. And just keep hanging in there. We love you. God bless. Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on all social media platforms at 8158 Podcast for updates. 8158 Stories of Sacrifice is a team effort. Rico brings the stories to life through casting, writing, original music, and editing. Brianne Shipley as production manager, handling booking, social media, graphics, promotion, marketing, website management, and logo design. Please visit our website at 8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor the legacies and remember the sacrifices of those who serve, every brave man and woman on the front lines, protecting and defending us all. This is Rico signing off and honoring 8158.